Live, Councillor Williams.
Right, thank you. Welcome to Rochford District Council remote meeting of the Licensing and Appeals Subcommittee, and welcome to anyone watching this via live stream. Right. Good afternoon. My name is Councillor Arthur Williams, and I am the Chairman of the Licensing and Appeals Subcommittee. The other members are Councillor Jo McPherson. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, Councillor Jo McPherson.
And the other one is Councillor Chris Stanley. Chris Stanley, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
I'm Councillor Chris Stanley. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we start, can everybody present make sure that they have switched off their mobile phones? Thank you. The purpose of today's hearing is to consider an application for a temporary event notice made by John Smith in respect of the premises known as Crafty, Casks, Eastwood Road, Rayleigh. Please could the applicant or the applicant's representative introduce themselves? Mr. Smith. You're muted, I think, Mr. Smith.
That's better. Yes, I'm John Smith. I'm the premises licence holder at Crafty Casks.
Thank you. And do you have any representatives with you at all today?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Please could the council's licensing officer introduce themselves?
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Greener. I'm the Principal Licensing Officer for Rochford District Council.
Thank you, Mr. Greener. Do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
No, I don't have any witnesses to call. Thank you.
Thank you. Please could the responsible authority introduce themselves?
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Padden. I am the team leader from Environmental Health.
Thank you, Mr. Padden. Do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
I do not.
Thank you. Have all parties received the agenda and reports for today's hearing? Thank you. The committee will now follow the procedure set out in the procedural note at item 3 on the agenda. To note the procedure to be followed, the determining invocation of the item 4 on the agenda. I'm not sure if I'm which. Sonia, perhaps you could help me here.
So I think if all parties have received the papers, Chairman, we are following item 3 of the agenda, which outlines the procedure that we will be following for the hearing. But I think you need to start by inviting the licensing officer to present their report.
Right, thank you very much. Mr. Greener, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. This is a report introduces an application for a temporary event notice made under Section 100 of the Licensing Act of 2003. During the consultation period, an objection was received by Rochford District Council Environmental Health Team regarding the request of extension of hours on New Year's Eve. The application must be determined at the conclusion of the hearing at least 24 hours before the beginning of the event, in accordance with paragraph 26 of the Licensing Act 2003, Hearings Regulations 2005, and section 105.4 of the Licensing Act of 2003. Just to introduce the application, on the 2nd of December 2021, a temporary event notice was received via the Government Digital Service Portal from Mr. John Smith in relation to a application for the Crafty Casks. Appendix A consists of a copy of the original application form. The notice is for extension of hours for Crafty Casks on the 31st of December between 2300 hours until 0030 hours on the 1st of January 2022. The licensable activities are for the sale of alcohol and the provision of regulated entertainment. I have had confirmation from Mr. Smith, and I'm sure he will present this as his evidence. The regulated entertainment relates to recorded music at the venue. The maximum number of people attending the event will be 100. The venue does hold a premises licence, and conditions can be applied to the application if considered appropriate, as outlined within paragraph 7.6 of the section 182 of the Licensing Act guidance. The venue is currently licensed under license number 215, and a copy of the license is attached as Appendix B of this report. The application was sent to Essex Police and Rochester District Council on the 2nd of December 2021 for consultations with a deadline of the 7th of December 2021. The application was reviewed by the police, and they have not made any representation against this application. An objection notice has been received by Rochester District Council's Environmental Health Team on the grounds that the use of the premises in accordance with the temporary event notice would undermine the public nuisance objective of the Licensing Act. And a copy of that objection notice is attached as Appendix C. As stated, all parties have been served with the relevant notices and paperwork and documentation required by paragraph 6 and 7 of the Licensing Act Hearings Regulations 2005. I'm going to literally jump to the end of the report, if that's okay with everyone, and down to the recommendations. It is proposed that the subcommittee resolves either to determine whether the extension of the existing licence would undermine the licensing objective of public nuisance and serve a counter notice stating the reasons for that. Second, to allow the licence board activities to go ahead as stated in the notice without attaching any conditions, or to allow the licence board activities to go ahead as stated in the notice with conditions which are currently attached to the premises licence. And that is the end of the report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Greener. I think members of the subcommittee may ask questions now for clarification. I just have one. The licensing you said was from 2300 till 0030. I was reading the license and I was under the impression that they already had a license up until 11:30. Is that not right?
The license that is attached under Appendix B is specifically for the sale of alcohol. It doesn't mention regulated entertainment.
Right.
The venue themselves benefit from the live music deregulation, which allows any licensed premises to have regulated entertainment up to 11 o'clock at night or 2300 hours. So the application is from 2300 hours onwards to allow the music to continue. They also have ticked the box for the sale of alcohol, so there is a crossover period that will cover both at the same time.
Okay, thank you. Do any other members of the committee have any questions that they would like clarification on? Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, please, Steve. If I look at the application, it is page, first of all, actually, my first question will be on page 4.8. So this application is for sales on and off the premises for this time period. Is that correct?
Yes, it's to cover both, so they can serve alcohol on site and they can also provide the facility for people to take away alcohol at the end of the night if they wish.
Thank you. Then on page 4.10, question 5, it isn't answered.
In relation to, have you previously given a temporary event notice in relation to any premises or events failing in the same calendar year for which is given the temporary event notice? So you're correct, that hasn't been answered, but they have answered the question below. I believe, John, am I correct in saying, and I'm on the assumption here that it is no, because you have answered the below sort of points. I will ask John to verify that for you to confirm if you're happy with that.
Yes, this is the only temporary event notice we put in for 2 years.
Thank you. And I think that is all my questions. Just one, just for clarity as well, Steve, please. The checklist on 4.11. Obviously, only the bottom 2 boxes are ticked. I presume that is absolutely fine, normal.
Yes, that's quite correct. With an electronic submission, we do the top ones. So we are responsible for sending it out to Essex Police and also to the responsible authorities. So if it was done manually, we would expect those to be ticked separately by the applicant. But because it's gone through the government portal, we do that on their behalf.
Thank you. That explains it. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Stanley, do you have any?
No, I'm happy with
No clarification. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Greener. I believe, are we going to the responsible authority now? I know things have changed. Is that the one? No. Go to the applicants. Yep.
Chairman, would you like to ask the applicants or environmental health officer if they would like to ask any questions of the?
Of course, I do apologise. Mr. Smith, do you have any questions for Mr. Greener?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Padden?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Sonia, sorry, we are now going to the applicant.
You're going to the applicant, please,
Okay.
Chairman.
Right, thank you very much. Mr. Smith, could you please provide your submission? Thank you.
I'm asking for an extension of our licence until 12:30 on New Year's Eve to serve alcohol and to play background music, which will be sound limited. I don't expect it to be particularly busy because we're not having any events on. I think it's much more sensible to allow people to see in the new year in the bar rather than me asking them to leave just before midnight. I think that would be unwise.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. I'm now going to ask members of the committee.
I'm sorry. There is one more thing I'd like to add. I had a previous TENS for New Year's Eve on 2019 when we didn't have a sound limiter on, and we had no trouble with that evening.
Okay, thank you. I am now going to ask members of the committee whether or not they have any questions for you. Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Chairman. Hi, John. Just wonder if you can tell me, your premises, it's limited to 100 people. How will you monitor this?
I don't expect to have anything like 100 people there. In 2019, we probably had about 20 there. Most people are making plans to go to bars that are having events. I think we're also going to be affected by COVID. I think we're going to be having, my guess is we're going to be having a quiet New Year all round. And really it's just available for our regular patrons just to see in the new year. In 2019, I provided free champagne to see in the new year, and I think I got through 2 bottles, so it wasn't exactly a huge event.
Yeah. Although I can appreciate that, my only concern is, should other premises perhaps close and yours being the only one open, would you monitor?
Okay, we're required to have door staff in attendance in any case, and they will make sure that the place doesn't get too crowded. I don't believe it's going to get anywhere near 100.
Okay, so you'll have door staff on that?
Yes.
Great, thank you. And also, my other concern would be, as you close, dispersing your clientele.
Right. we have to have door staff on from 8 o'clock, and the company we deal with only provides them in blocks of a minimum of 5 hours. So we will have door staff there until 1 a.m.
Thank you. So they will be asking people to make their way home and keep the noise down. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, yes, which is what they do now.
Thank you. I think that is it from me. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you.
Councillor McPherson. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Councillor Stanley, do you have any questions for Mr. Smith?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. I'm concerned about the, I do understand that you don't expect to have a full house of 100 people, but I'm still concerned about the noise level, not only from your recorded music, but also from your people that are there in the Crafty Casks. And how would you deal with that noise level? Also, being New Year's Eve, if you like, fireworks are generally let off at all, and I would ask that would you have control over that and to turn around and say no fireworks are permitted? Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. We have no outside space. We're opposite Marks and Spencer's. The idea of someone letting off fireworks inside is just a complete no-no. No, we don't have a car park. We don't have any outside space. There is nowhere for people to let off fireworks. As far as people making noise is concerned, our Friday and Saturday evenings are quite full in any case. I don't expect it to be any fuller than that. I guess there will be some singing to bring in the new year, but I think it's going to be pretty loud in Rayleigh at midnight in any case. I don't think we'll be making any excessive noise. And as far as the music is concerned, we probably won't be able to hear it inside. It is very quiet.
Yeah, I'm really not concerned with the rest of Rayleigh. I'm just concerned with the area that you're dealing with, in as much as the noise levels, not only from the music but from maybe the people that are there. So, have you got some? If you've got some control over that with your doorman or whatever.
Well, we have the door staff, and if any people are behaving inappropriately, there'll be. I don't like to say dealt with, but
no, that's fine. If you think that is the right wording, then that's fine.
Absolutely right. The door staff are there to control the door and to monitor the behaviour of people within the building. If anybody's behaving inappropriately, they deal with it very well.
The other thing was that the rear of the building is obviously going to be wide open, and my concerns were that parties, as they have, as the license says, that you are people can come in and buy bottles or whatever the case is to drink outside, take away, that there may be something going on in the car park area. Would you have any control over that?
Our rear door is an emergency exit only.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about the rear door. I'm just thinking about the car park area behind you, because
right. Okay. This is a right. Yeah, I understand now. This is a private car park. I have 2 spaces there which will be used. All the other spaces in the car park are allocated to the apartments and other businesses. There is no public parking behind the premises at all.
Okay.
Well, can I just come in there, Chairman, just to clarify that? I wasn't considering as a car parking area. I was more concerned with people obtaining drink and taking it round the back of the premises and having a party on their own. So I want to know if the licensee will have any control over that area. If
I
not,
can ask the door staff to keep an eye on it.
If not, it's a concern to me.
Okay, I can ask the doors. Right, I don't expect that people will be taking drink out. I just put it on the form because it was part of our existing license. I'm quite happy to have the takeaways taken off. It's not a great concern for me.
That's very kind of you, Mr. Smith. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Stanley. Do you have any further questions?
Oh, would I be permitted to do takeaways until 11 p.m?
This is something that the committee will decide and come back to you on this one. Is there anything else, Councillor Stanley?
Oh, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions. Off sales. How do you rely on off sales? Do you do many off sales in a normal evening?
During the lockdown, that was all that was keeping us going. We have a regular trade in off sales because we've got a wide selection of beers that are not available anywhere else. People come in with their containers, and we sell containers so that people can take them home to drink. We also have a canning machine,
right?
So people can select what draft beer they want, and we'll can them up for them on the spot.
Lovely, thank you. I presume there will be no live music?
No.
Thank you. The two spaces at the back that Councillor Stanley referred to, I presume you said they will be used. They will be used for your own car parking?
Yes.
Right, thank you. That's the only questions I have. I'm not sure if anybody else has any questions. Steve, Mr. Greener, please.
Sorry to interrupt. It was just to provide a little bit of clarity and a little bit more information for the committee as well. It says under condition 29 attached to his licence that patrons permitted to temporarily leave and then re-enter the premises to smoke shall not be permitted to take drinks or glass containers out with them. So they've already got that restriction in place, that the door staff will put those measures in place. In relation to noise and the noise level from the recording equipment, and specifically in relation to condition 32, which talks about a tamper-proof noise limiting device at a level that's agreed with the environmental health section, that has been set at 70 decibels. To give you an indication of decibel levels, a human speaking sort of conversation is averaging, and I'm sure Mr. Padden will put me correct if I'm wrong, is about 60 decibels as a normal sort of conversation speak. So it gives you an indication what sort of level that the music will be played at. And finally, in relation to off sales, obviously the license at the present time allows the off sales to take place up until 11:30 in accordance with the license. So Mr. Smith could then obviously still offer the off sales in accordance with his existing license. The temporary event notice is purely the extension of the two requirements. Hopefully that helps.
Lovely, thank you very much. Mr. Padden, do you have any questions for?
Thank you, Chairman. The points I was going to raise have already been addressed in terms of whether or not there was going to be live music, and if there wasn't, whether or not any amplified music was played through a noise limiter device, but that would appear to be the case at the moment, so I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor McPherson, you're waving at me.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
You're up there.
It's literally based on what our licensing officer just mentioned. Steve, Mr. Smith has offered not to have the off sales for that extra hour. That's but it's already approved up to 11:30. Now, should we be mindful to approve this, would that sort of be able to be a condition that we can place on there? Thank you.
What you can attach is the conditions that are currently under Appendix B of the license, and you can only attach those conditions. You cannot add any additional conditions on. If Mr. Smith has offered to voluntarily remove the sale of alcohol off the temporary event notice, that obviously will be between sort of 11:30 and midnight, then he's voluntarily offered that sort of facility as an option for you to consider. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. That's good. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor McPherson and Mr. Greener. If there are no other questions, we'll go over to the responsible authority to present their submissions. If you have any, please, Mr. Padden.
Thank you. As I previously mentioned, it would appear that our concerns have been addressed anyway. Our concerns revolved around the possibility of live music, but if that there isn't going to be any live music and it's going to be amplified music only via a noise limiter device, we would just ask that the conditions in Appendix B be attached to any temporary event notice that should you be minded to grant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Padden? No, it appears not. You got off very lightly. Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for that. The committee will now adjourn to consider the case. We will return in approximately, I don't know how long. I'm not sure quite how. Sonia will let you know. You're more than welcome to attend that. And the decision will also be sent to you in writing. You do not have to wait, but you're welcome to